We start at the NBC, where most of the corporation's services have been offline since its headquarters in Windhoek were damaged by heavy rains that took place yesterday. Now, for an update on that situation, I'm now joined by NBC Director General Stanley Similo. Sir, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Nina, and good afternoon to our viewers. Thank you very much for having me around.
Now, Mr. Similo, as I think the most of the country knows by now, the NBC yesterday experienced interruption in its transmission due to these heavy rainfalls. Can you share to us what exactly happened?
Yes, Nina, the incident, a very unfortunate one. I got news just after 5 that we had a cloudburst which heavily affected some of our structural property, and part of that process then had water that ran into our distribution box, which distributes all power to the Northern Industrial Complex. And as such, all services went off. And the reason why that happened, it was that the uplink facility was affected. If it is not powered, then nothing else can go out for transmission. However, we had about 2 stations that were running only in Windhoek. So on further investigation, we actually discovered that part of the water during and after the cloudburst actually found its way into parts of the corridors, which then meant that people could not do any work because the power was out. But linked to that, our standby generator did kick in, and it powered part of the transmission for about 2 hours or so. But because we could not restore, the uninterrupted power then also went out after 2 hours or so. So that actually meant that we could not have any broadcast. But then immediately we kicked in our plans to restore all services, but also because of power that is there and water, and you know the two as a combination is also extremely dangerous. So we were to apply strict security and safety for those that had to come in. So we managed to get 2 backup gensets that assisted us to go back and try and restart everything to go. But it was quite a tedious exercise, and you know this time of the year, from a support perspective, everybody's almost on holiday. However, we did manage to have all our radio services back at about 1:30 of this morning. For radio, we were struggling because in the final control center, all the breakers that were there, the moment you were powering them up, they were just cutting out again. But through the support of the technical staff and with support from our colleagues who are in the business as well, we managed to get the television station up and running by 7 of this morning. So as we speak, about an hour back, we had a planned shutdown because now we had to bring back the whole building back on air. So we had to plan it in such a way that we systematically power back everything that is there. So the outage that we had for about an hour or so, it was an unplanned exercise, but as we speak now, I think all services are back on air. And I can only really thank the NBC's technical team that has been there, people on standby, others working normal shift, and then also the partners that we had to bring in to assist us with that. But for now, we are also looking to see where the damage was caused onto the roofing structure of the building, and that is being attended to as well.
That goes into my next question, asking about what attributed to this issue. Could it be the poor maintenance of the roofing system? And also, you mentioned that the system that went offline, is there not a backup system for that?
Yes, we do have, but remember from an uplink perspective, and at the time, remember when we are faced with this type of challenge, the first thing that you would want to do is to say, what is this that I can do to get services back on air? And that's what we did. We tried at all means to see what we can do, but then we realized that the backup generator, the cable that's actually running all power from the generator into the whole building was also laden with water, fully laced. So that also rendered that process for us in fact, at the time, ineffective. That is why, as a plan B, we said, let's immediately then get other backup generators so that we can at least get FCC and the uplink on air, which was then that process that was tedious. And you know, if you work with power and there's water, there's potential of serious danger. So you will always put the lives and the security of people first.
Yeah. Do you have an estimated cost of the damage that was done?
Yeah, we believe that from an airtime value, it's most probably just over 800,000 that we believe we could have lost as a result of the downtime that we've had during not being able to broadcast.
Yeah. Well, we know that obviously it's an ongoing process to get all systems back up and running, especially on television side. And when can we expect to see that happen?
Well, as we're speaking now, just before we went on air, we had the planned shutdown. All services were up and running, all 11 radio stations, with NBC 2. The only two that were off air before we went on now was NBC 1 and 2. But I'm assuming that with the fact that we are on air now, they are also up and running.
All right. Well, any other matters you'd like to alert us to this afternoon, sir?
Well, look, these are trying times. These are times where you get tested to your limit in terms of what you need to deal with. As you know, we have been in the COVID year, and for broadcasting, it's been a challenging one for us. I really personally just want to also personally give my condolences for all those families that might have lost family members due to the coronavirus. And you know, at the NBC, we've also been unlucky in that we lost a member who has been part of this team for many, many, many years. So on that score, we will just want to give our condolences. Apart from that, we are also in discussions, I think, with the union representation of the NBC, discussing issues of salaries and all of that. A difficult period. As you know, country lost about $1 billion of potential revenue because of the economic conditions. A very difficult time for us. I have alerted the chairperson of the board about this matter, and I think they will be taking it up there as well. So all we are saying from a management perspective, as difficult as it is, the NBC has not opted to lay off any individual. Whilst we know that in some companies, the issue of laying off staff is something that is real, that has been happening. So we also expect to see an element of understanding on the side of especially the union representing the constituency, which is the employees. Of course, there are discussions that are ongoing. Those processes must be respected, and so will we as well. So other than that, we believe that as an organization, we are slowly getting out of a phase which was very difficult. As you would know, the past 5 years has not been an easy 5 years for the organization, but because of commitment that we've been having, as was demonstrated yesterday afternoon and last night during the difficult time of not having the station on air and all the other radio stations, it again just illustrates the importance of people within the business that we are pushing. So on that score, we also just want to say to the public in general, and thank them for their patience. And our corporate clients, we will always do whatever it takes to get our services back to normal.
Well, thank you so much for being here this afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.